Good evening, guys. Good evening. How's everyone evening? Come on in. I am Juju coming to you live this evening, and we have some things that we need to talk about. So come on in. Come on in and make yourself comfortable. As you come in, please like and share this video. Like and share this video. Tag a friend. Let them know that Juju is on the air. Also, let me know that you're out here with me, that you're in the audience, that you're ready to participate in this important conversation. Tonight, we're talking about Black on Black crime. I said it. Black on black crime. So many people look at that as an ugly word or disparaging um, commentary, but we're going to talk about it tonight. Let's talk about it. So, you guys come on in. And like I said, as you come in, please like and share the video. Like and share the video. Make sure that you tag your friends, invite them in, let them know that Juju is on the air, let them know that we are having this conversation tonight, and it is a can't miss conversation that we as a community need to all engage in. So come on in, guys. Come on in. Let me know that you're out there. Tell Juju hello. Let her know that you are out there and that you are waiting to engage in this important conversation. So, how has everyone's day been? It has been an absolutely beautiful, beautiful weekend. I hope you had an opportunity to get outside and soak up some of the vitamin D, that good vitamin D that they say so many of us melanin people lack and we all need. Hello, Darlene, Doll, Todd. How are you doing? Thank you for joining me tonight. It is so good, as always, to have you as a part of our audience. So I hope that you have had a great day, a great weekend, and looking forward to a very great and productive week. Let's try to be productive this week. Do something that's going to maybe inspire someone, maybe uplift or encourage someone, help someone who's in need. Let's look beyond ourselves this week and try to inspire someone else. I'm glad that you're doing good, doll. I'm doing good myself. I was a little tired on yesterday, but I am feeling better today. Mr. Jackson, did you see the invite? I had sent you an invite. I see that you're watching there. Did you see the invite that I sent you so that you could come on in and join us? Uh, I just sent you another one just in case the other one for some reason did not work. But anyway, so tonight, guys, we are going to be talking about Black on Black crime. But anyway, welcome to this week's edition of Let's Talk. I am your host. I am Juju. And Let's Talk is produced by my brother and friend, Mr. Jerry Jackson. Okay, and tonight, guys, we are going to be talking about a subject which can be hard to talk about, but it must be addressed. And that is Black on Black crime. That phrase, Black on Black crime, in and of itself, it is often criticized because it can be misleading or stigmatizing. As we all know, most crime tends to occur within the same community across all racial groups. So there's more white on white crime, there's more Hispanic on Hispanic crime, Asian on Asian crime, Indian on Indian crime, just because of the proximity. So we all are aware of that. Um, we all are aware of that. But anyway, just because, I'm sorry, just because it is prevalent in other communities does not mean that we don't need to address it in our own. Okay. So, yeah. Doesn't mean that it's not true that more crimes are committed against Black individuals by other Black individuals. And I know we often hear people's response if there's a um uh uh instance where police brutality, or a Black man is murdered by the police officers, and there's a public outcry and outcry in the Black community. You'll hear people in other communities, and they'll say, well, what about Black on Black crime? Okay. And then you also hear when, we use the phrase that Black Lives Matter. You'll hear people say, well, what about Black on Black crime? People in other communities. And, that tends to be offensive to some people. And I will be honest with you guys, it's offensive to me. However, the fact remains that there are that 72% of violence against Black victims involve Black offenders. Um, Two invites have been sent. I'm going to send you another one. Mr. Jackson, not sure what you're doing, but another invite has been sent. But anyway, so like I said, 72% of violent offenses against Black victims involve Black offenders, and those are just the facts, okay? So the icebreaker is for tonight's icebreaker is, can we deal with Black crime? Can we deal with crime in the Black communities and not deal with Black on Black crime? Can we successfully deal with crime within the Black community if we do not address Black on Black crime? Okay, so that is our icebreaker question for today. Guys, let me know what you think. Can we successfully deal with crime in the Black community if we do not deal with Black on Black crime? What do you guys think? So, what do you guys think? I wanted us to have a conversation. What do you guys think? Can we successfully deal with crime in the Black community if we do not address Black on Black crime? What do you guys think? What's your opinion on that? Let me know. Um, what do you guys think? That's our icebreaker for today. Can we? Can we successfully deal with crime in the Black community if we do not address Black on Black crime? What do you guys think? I want to hear from you. Let me know what's your perspective. What are you all thinking? Mr. Jackson, can you request to join me? Just asking. And guys, okay. So let me give you my perspective on that. I don't think that we can deal with crime in the Black communities and not deal with Black on Black crime. But I think probably the way I would suggest we deal with Black on Black crime may not necessarily be the um same idea that other people may have. I may have a different perspective on how I feel like we should be dealing with Black on Black crime. And that is just, and it may um excuse me, it may be the same. Miss Jones says no, as you stated, the percentage of Black on Black crime is at an all-time high. There is no respect for another person's life. And I agree with that wholeheartedly, Annie. We have lost respect for one another, and even people with themselves have lost respect for their own lives and their own selves and their own well-being. And not just, and when we think about Black on Black crime, we always think about, violent crimes, but there are other crimes. Breaking in the house. When someone broke into my home, I felt so violated. It was another Black person. It was not, someone from somewhere else. And it was a neighbor of mine, somebody who walked past every day, may wave their hand. So there's that, when you think about stuff like that, um yeah, it makes you say we have to deal with this in order to, if we want to improve our communities. I can't be so worried about what's going on um in the next person's community, if I have to focus in on what's going on in my community. What are we doing? Miss Lynn says, I believe everything starts from home community. Therefore, we must look at us before we can look at them. Since Black Lives Matter, then they must matter to us in the Black community first. If we don't respect ourselves, how can we demand respect from others? You are so correct. If your life really matters, my life really matters, it has to matter to me first. And if Black Lives Matter, then it has to matter in our community first. We have to be able to look inward. And I think so often, people don't want to take responsibility for their actions or for themselves or for what's going on within their community. And so they want to push the blame on someone else, and like it's somebody else's fault that this is happening the way that it is happening. And that's not the case. But anyway, so yeah, we have to be willing to look at ourselves. We have to be willing to deal with Black on Black crime in order to improve our communities. And we have to start there and spread abroad. But yeah, we do need to start there. Um, and let's look. And Mr. Jackson, I don't know what's going on with you because I can see myself on my other and the comments on my other phone, so I don't know. But anyway, let's just look at this, and I know we all have seen and heard and remember the Dadeville mass shooting that took place, and it was in the anniversary is coming up and soon, because it was like almost 3 years ago. It'll be 3 years ago this week that it happened. But we had six young men, Black men, coming to a Black Sweet 16 party. and kill four young innocent black kids and injure 32 other individuals. And we know recently that these individuals who committed this heinous crime were uh, were sentenced, and their sentence was almost as bad as the crime. These people who had no regard, absolutely no regard for the lives of the young children who were at that party just celebrating a birthday, were sentenced to, I think it's like 25, 5, and they said something about split 5. I don't know nothing about sentencing, but anyway, what it basically boiled down to is that the people had to serve 5 years for killing four people, four innocent people who were just celebrating a birthday and wounding 32 others. You get 5 years with time served. And like I said, time served has been almost 3 years. So that means you have 2 more years to serve in prison. And that shows me, I don't know what it says to you, that the justice system is not concerned about black on black crime. It's all good. If I can kill four innocent people, wound 32 others, get 5 years, that says a whole lot to me about our justice system and the fact that we have to be the ones who fix what is broken in our community. And I'm not that sure that the Justice Center fixes much anyway. Um, Annie Jones said, "Oh my God, that's awful." Duchess said, "In our communities, supporting each other was crucial to us growing, thriving, and getting ahead. Killing, hurting, robbing each other is contrary to what we knew as community. We can't continue to accept it and dismiss it. We need to address it and to be accountable for how we treat our brothers and sisters." Annie Jones says, "I agree." And Darlene Todd says, "I agree with you on that." And that word, Duchess, accountability. We don't want to be held accountable. We want to blame everybody else for our misfortunes or for our situations or for our circumstances. We don't want to be held accountable for what is going on in our lives, in our communities. But the fact of the matter is, we are the ones who are in control. We're in control of how we act, we're in control of how we react. I was speaking with a young person the other day, and she was saying when she gets angry, she just throws things, has temper tantrums, uh, say things that she shouldn't say. And I'm like, no, that's not acceptable. That's not acceptable behavior. You have to find a better way to deal with your anger. You have to find a better way to deal with your frustration. You have to find a better way to deal with your poverty if that is what you're trying to deal with. There has to be a better way. Violence, hurting our family, friends, our community, that's not the answer. That is strictly not the answer. Alrighty, so let's look at question. First question: is black on black crime a myth? Is it a myth? Because some people will have you think that, you know, people are just saying this stuff. They're trying to stigmatize us, trying to make us look bad. Black on black crime. is black people do not hurt other black people at higher rates than they hurt other. And not to say that it's good for you to hurt, rob, steal, kill from anybody. No, nobody. But um is it a myth? Some people think that it is all a myth. Now, I did say that we do know that it's not. uh, Crime rates are higher within each community because of proximity. If I'm spending 90% of my time with people who are like me, people of the same race, if I'm going to commit a crime, then it's probably more likely that I would commit a crime against the people in my community. So white on white crime is more prevalent than black on white crime. Hispanic on Hispanic crime is more prevalent than Hispanic on black crime. You can go through all of the races and find that is true. So, um, black on black crime black on black crime is not uh something that is just unique to the black community. It spreads across all races. Now, so if you're looking at that and saying, okay, that's a myth, yes, maybe. But the facts are the facts, the statistics are the statistics. We harm each other at a much higher rate than other races harm us. And um anyway, so there may be some things within it that are not true, or that can be misleading, but the fact is, yes, we do harm one another at a much higher, greater rate. Now let's talk about what constitutes black on black crime. And I was talking about that just a moment ago. What constitutes black on black crime? So often we think about murdering people or assaulting people, but there is much more to black on black crime. Like I said, when somebody robs you or breaks into your car, that's a crime. That's crime. And if their person who robs you breaks into your house, breaks into your car, is black, then that's black on black crime. What about dealing of drugs? That is something that I think is has never been addressed um correctly in our community, because it is such a destructive thing. And yes, it is a crime. I know some people will say, well, it's a victimless crime. No. When you're dealing drugs to someone in your community, that person in that community has a family that that needs them, and so they're not able to support that family, or that person in your community is trying to support that drug habit. So they may be more likely to commit crimes, robbing, stealing, shoplifting, these kind of things. That constitutes black on black crime. If you're stealing your sister or brother's identity and using their credit cards, that's black on black crime. So all of these different things constitute black on black crime. Anytime you are committing a criminal act, you're black, your victim is black, that is black on black crime. Sexual assaults, those are black on black crimes. If you're black and you're sexually assaulting someone, molestation, and there's a lot of that's going on, or it's more, we are hearing so much more about it. Um, that is black on black crime if you're black and your victim is black. So All of these things need to be addressed. All of these things need to be dealt with. And none of them should be swept under the rug. And we shouldn't look at any of them and say, it's not important or whatever because, or it's not real because we're black and we're doing it to each other. No, all of this needs to be addressed. Um, Now let me ask you this question, guys, and I want your input. I want to hear your thoughts on this. How does poverty, educational access, and employment opportunities influence crime rate? How does poverty, educational access, and employment opportunities influence crime rate? How does those things influence the crime rate? A lot of times we say that crime is what it is in poorer communities because of poverty, because they don't have as much access to education, because they don't have as many employment opportunities. So how do those things actually influence crime rates? I'm going to give you all an opportunity to type that in the chat, because I really want to know what you guys think, on that question, what your opinion is about that question. How does poverty, educational access, and employment opportunities influence crime rate? How do these different factors influence crime rate? How does poverty, educational access, and employment opportunities influence crime rate? Does the fact that I'm living in a income, I mean a community that may have a low income community, does that make me more likely to commit a crime? Is the fact that I may not have, because we do live in a place where public education is free and people have access to public education. So I'm guessing with saying higher education, does the fact that I may be poorer and may not have as many accesses to um um public education, I mean higher education, does that influence or my does that make me more likely to commit a crime? Annie says because they are lacking education, employment, and unable to climb out of poverty does influence it, but it's never an excuse. I was once in all three and I have never committed a crime. We must take accountability. And Annie, I agree with you wholeheartedly because I look around the community that I'm in and I see, the struggles that our parents had, and they had low paying jobs. They had no health care. They didn't have uh big savings accounts. They were living from day to day, borrowing from Peter to pay Paul. But these were not crime ridden areas. Okay, we were supporting each other. We were not trying to take from each other and tear each other down. We were trying to build one another up. Mr. Jackson says, I think poverty exposes crime rates. However, it does not make me inherently criminal. Exactly. And I think that it is an insult, actually, for you to say just because I may be dealing with poverty, or I may not be as educated as you, or I may not have a job that's paying me as much as the job that you're on. I'm inherently a criminal. I think that's an insult to me. And I think that is one thing that we ought to feel insulted by is when people say, poverty. Poverty does not mean you're a criminal. A lot of us grew up in poverty, but we're not thieves. We're not murderers. We're not rapists. We're not child molesters. Poverty, we're not drug dealers. And I know some people look and say, okay, people go into drug dealing, but there's a lot of people that grew up in poverty that did not choose that road. They chose a different road. So we're all accountable for the choices that we make. Mr. Jackson says, I am a firm believer that what you are taught at home supersedes your financial status and does not cause me to be a criminal or commit crimes. And I am going to agree with you 100%, Mr. Jackson. What you're taught at home and parenting, we were talking about that earlier today, is not an easy job. It's not an easy job. And I think it may have been simpler when we were coming up because we were not exposed to so many things, especially at such a young age, like young people are now. The fact that, they have all of this information, all of this stuff at their fingertips with these cell phones and all of this social media and all the computers and websites and things that they can access quickly. And try as you might, it's hard to prevent them from accessing these things. That's where parenting comes in at. And if you got to be watch guard, I know my sister was like, we might have followed our children around, making sure that they are doing the right thing or making sure that they are getting something. If they're having trouble understanding something in school, we're going to follow them around, making sure that they understand and get the help that they have, things that they need. But that is what parenting involves. And it involves also making good choices. What priorities are you setting for your kids? What examples are you setting for your kids? What things are you showing your kids are more important by what you are willing to do to get those things? So yeah, it does begin at the home, Mr. Jackson. Mr. Jackson also said that I was raised in an impoverished community. Exactly. However, criminal thinking and criminal behavior were never part of our values or our path. And that's what I'm talking about. Our parents, even though they were struggling to take care of their 7, 8, 9 kids, on the jobs that they have, struggling to make a better life for their kids, put them in a nicer home or whatever. Um, it was never a thought that we're going to take shortcuts. And it wasn't acceptable for you as their child to go out there and commit criminal acts. It wasn't acceptable. And as a matter of fact, we were raised to have self-respect, respect all of every adult around us. They got our respect. Respect ourselves, okay? Self-respect. And when you left the house, y- you didn't look like you came out of an impoverished house or an impoverished community. You didn't talk like it. You didn't walk like it. You didn't carry yourself like it because there was something greater instilled in you. And I think that is what we've lost. But the fact that we once had it says to me that we can get it back again. It just takes work. We have to be willing to put in the work. Hello, Minister Clark. How are you doing tonight? Thank you so much for joining us. And I know that you are such an advocate for the Black community, and you've always been, and you've always dealt with the crime and the young people, and trying to make a better way for our young people. So I'm delighted that you have joined us. And I want to ask this question: what community-based programs have been effective in reducing black on black crime? Are there community-based programs that have been effective in reducing black on black crime? And let's switch that up too, because I want to know, is are there some programs that have promoted black on black crime? So let's look at from both perspectives. What kind of programs have been created that are effective in reducing black on black crime and reducing crime in our communities? And are there programs that have created, that have fostered more black on black crimes or more crime within our community? Um, Minister Clark said you don't know any that has helped to reduce the crime or any that have promoted. Because I know that there are things out there that we sometimes don't take advantage of. I look at, and I wasn't there. Mr. Jackson said, "What community based?" Okay, he's talking. Okay, um, but I wasn't there with the thousand um youth march the other day, but I saw a lot of young people out there and a lot of different groups out there. And I think that there are people who are trying to do things to positively impact our communities. What I think is the participation and the parental involvement is not there in a lot of times. Um, and I look at like the kite day that they had also over here. I looked at that, and it was a nice community event where kids could come and be kids and fly kites and ride horses and dance and have a good time. Um, but the children were not there. I look at the National Night Out, and they're there and they have resources and things of that nature, but the children are not there. Hello, Miss Demetria Jones. Thank you so much for joining us. And so, um, Mr. Jackson says 100 Black Men is a great organization that supports young Black men specifically through mentoring. Yeah, and the brother, big sister programs that they have, um, and mentor programs are very good. Parents need to participate more. Yes, yes. And you can't just send your child. You need to bring your child, go with your child, participate, get some of these resources, connect with some of these community leaders. You need to know what your child is doing. Parents definitely need to participate more. You need to know what your child is doing. You need to know what your child is watching on Facebook, on TikTok, on when they're online. I was telling I was talking about the lady that I know, and her son, every time he starts to play video games, he just gets just out of control. As a matter of fact, she told me that they had to cut a vacation short because he was in the arcade cutting up, and she's like, he get to playing on those video games and he just gets out of control. Okay, so if you know that those games stimulate your child, overstimulate your child, then don't allow your child to play those games. I mean, it may be a little difficult at first, but you got to know and participate and be actively engaged in your child's life. Know what your child is doing. Know if there's a pedophile on the other side that your child may be chatting with. Say who you talking to? Who you chat? Let me see. Let me read that. See what? Yeah. Yeah. I want to read it. I want to read what you posting. I'm gonna see what. No, that's inappropriate. Take that down. Or no, you don't need to be chatting with that person. That is the job of a parent. A parent's job is not an easy job, but if we want to produce good citizens and if we want to reduce crime in our communities, then it's going to have to start with us being good parents. Um, Demetria Jones said, Amen, participate. Yes, parents, you need to participate. Boys and Girls Clubs of America. That is a very good program. The Divine Nine supports many areas of concern for the Black community. Church needs to push these programs more. And that is true. Our churches need to be more involved. I was talking to my siblings today and talking about we were in Sunday school this morning, and one of the questions in the commentary was, you know, if your church and you disappeared today, would your community miss you? And I said, we are all, for the most part, there are some churches that are highly engaged, but for the most part, we're failing our communities. The church is, and we are the church, remember, and we're not engaged. And a lot of times we'll say, well, my little act is not going to make a difference. But you never, ever know what impact your little act can have on someone else's life. And we get sometimes, I think, too caught up on, I want to save the masses, which is a good thing. But if you can, saving the masses begins with one. So if you can do something to help one, then that you have done something worthwhile. If you can do something to help that one. Um, let's see. Let me ask this question. How does media coverage shape public perception of crime in different communities? How does the media coverage shape public perception of crime in different communities? Do you think that the media covers crimes in various communities the same? If the same crime occurs in an all white community and an all black community, is the media going to cover it the same? Let's just say a little black girl goes missing and a little white girl goes missing. Is the media going to cover those crimes the same? If a little black boy shoots another little black boy, or a little white boy shoots a white little white boy. Are those two crimes going to be covered the same? Minister Clark says no, they don't. Mr. Jackson says media coverage is biased. It is, can be very biased, and sometimes it can make it seem like only Black people are committing crimes. And then certain crimes that are committed in Black communities go unnoticed, unreported on, and really there's no attempt to resolve or solve the crime. Um, we see that a whole lot in missing persons. You see if a young white girl is kidnapped or missing or whatever, there is usually gonna catch national news. But you see young Black women go missing every single day, and we never hear anything about it. Mr. Jackson says specifically, a recent overdose of drugs at a local county school was never reported, and several students were hospitalized for drugs, and it was never reported. That is, how that goes. A lot of times, things that are reported or reported on that occur in one community and is reported on extensively, and then another community you barely hear anything about it. It's swept on the rug. Other races commit crimes, it's just covered up. Yeah, other races, other young people commit crimes, and that is true. That is so true. Um, but the fact that other people are doing it doesn't mean that it's right for us to do. Um, Minister Clark, you all used to always tell your kids, um, if everybody go jump off a bridge, you gonna go jump off a bridge with them. That was the kind of stuff y'all told us when we were coming up. You can't do what other people do just because everybody's doing it. Don't mean it's right, right? Mr. Jackson says news outlets tend to focus disproportionately on violent and sensational crimes, which can create the impression that crime is more prevalent than it actually is, and that it's concentrated in specific neighborhoods. You are correct. You are correct. And I think that not only the broadcast, but also the justice system, when you see the punishments for crimes, a lot of times if the defendant is Black, they're going to be more likely to be prosecuted and more likely to be institutionalized, incarcerated, than if the defendant may be a white person. Same thing with the victim. If the victim is Black, then the defendant is, or the offender is, less likely to be prosecuted, less likely to be incarcerated for committing that crime against a Black person. And when it comes to things like robberies, which I know is a big thing, most of the time, if your house is robbed and you're in a Black community, there's no investigation. There's no investigation. Um, I know several people who had their house robbed at the same around the same time that I had mine broken into. No investigation. No, we're not gonna take any fingerprints. No, and I will be honest. Now they did all of that. when my house was broken into. But uh, one of the things was I was calling from police's house when I called, a former officer. I was calling from their house, and so they knew these people, and so they were more likely to investigate. But there's a lot of disparity in the criminal justice system as well. Let's look and see. Okay. Mr. Jackson said none of this excuses criminal behavior. It does not. Crime within our community is wrong and must be addressed responsibly. I visited the prison for over 50 years. I know that you had a prison ministry, Minister Clark. I remember that. You can have a black person and a white person, same crime, but different sentences. Yes, yes. Understanding root cause does not excuse criminal conduct. Criminal behavior is wrong and harmful to our communities, especially in the black community. And self-sabotage is the basically um self-sabotage is basically what we're talking about when we talk about black on black crime, Mr. Jackson. You are correct. And in order for us to improve our community, like Joyce said, when we were coming up, our parents expected us to live at a higher standard than others. Just because everybody else is doing it don't mean you can do it. This is not the expectation I have for you. No, you won't go out there stealing and killing and doing drugs and raping and molesting. No, because what they say, I brought you in here, you won't do all that, I'll take you out. We were held to a higher standard. The expectations that our parents had for us was higher. I think that's just my personal opinion than people of other races because they knew it took more for us to be successful. And I don't think that we have those same expectations and we don't set those same standards for our kids anymore. Um, do you think that black on black crime stems from slavery? We had rules in home and community. You're right, Minister Clark. Do I think black on black crime stems from slavery? I think that there is a thing, but coming out of slavery, we didn't have we had more love and more trust and an idea that we're going to work together, we're going to build together, we're going to build up our own, we're going to have our communities, we're going to have these black wall streets and things of this nature. So I can't really see how, and people say it all the time, that it goes back to slavery, but I can't see how it skipped those generations and then comes down to people who have never experienced slavery, never knew anyone who experienced slavery. I mean, so like you said, we can make excuses and we can find excuses, but exactly, Minister Claude, these kids ain't never been slaves. They don't know anything about it. And so we want to go back and say, okay, slavery made us do it. Mm. And then like I said, when we were coming out of slavery, we were building so much up and building our communities and had a oneness, a singleness of purpose, and we weren't committing crimes at this rate against each other. I don't see it, but hey, who am I to say? Ooh, I just don't see it. Hey, Duce, how you doing? I just don't see it, Mr. Jackson. But what do you think? Do you think slavery made us do it? Like who was that? Flip Wilson, the devil made us do it. Do you think? I mean, because so many times we go back to that as an excuse or an answer for everything that's wrong in our community. Slavery was very wrong. Don't get me wrong about it. And we talked about that today too, how people did not do not oftentimes see other people that are different from them as human beings. Um so it was very wrong, but I don't know. Um Annie says absolutely not. Jerry says I believe that slavery has an indirect impact on black crime. Okay. Okay. Um you'll have to expound on that. I'm sorry you're not we can't get you on live because I would love for you to expound on that. I do have one final question that I do want to ask. We know that black on black crime is a problem, and we have to deal with that problem in order to deal with our communities and improving our communities. My question is, what can individuals do, you individually, to contribute positively to our communities? What can we as individuals do to contribute positively to our communities? Edgar Vincent said there were institutions put into place as a result of slavery, which led to poverty, which is a breeding ground for crime. Okay, so you think that institutions put in place as a result of slavery. I need to know what kind of institutions. The government took some power away from parents. The government has taken power away from parents, but you know, parents can reclaim that power as well. We don't have to listen to Dr. Spock, the guy who had no children, tell us how to raise our kids and what's best for them. Um, you know, we have a manual or a manual from the creator telling us exactly how we should raise our kids. And I think we got away from the manual. We need to go back to the owner's manual when it comes to raising our kids. What can individuals do? Mr. Jackson said he agrees with Dr. Vincent. Redlining. Okay, devaluation of property. Okay, so that created pockets of poverty. I understand that. But do you think just because a person is in poverty, that means that they have to do criminal acts? Can we not get out of poverty without committing crimes? Can we not get out of poverty without committing crimes? But anyway, I want y'all to tell me, give me some things that individuals can do to contribute positively to their communities. And while you are doing that, because that's what we need. We don't need just to complain, but what is the answer? What answers are there to improve communities? Because we need to come up with some answers and we need to put these answers into action. We need to put them into action. But while you all are telling me what you think are ways that we as individuals can contribute to our community, I'm going to read some announcements. Next week, April the 19th, we're going to talk about the impact of poverty on life expectancy. The impact of poverty on life expectancy. Also, um, let's see, Huddle and Let's Talk. We'll have a voter registration and restoration event for on Monday, April the 26th from 12 o'clock p.m. to 2 o'clock p.m. St. Luke AME Church in the 1308 Auburn Street. Please stop by. If you want to check your voter registration status, make sure you know your status because some people have been purged. If you need to update your address, if you need to register to vote, or if you were convicted of a felony and you have lost your right to vote and you want to see if you can have those rights restored, stop by. Once again, that is going to be April the 26th, St. Luke AME Church, 1308 Auburn Street, 12 to 2 o'clock. Remember that the Alabama primary election will be May 19th. And May the 4th is the last day you can register to participate in that primary election. May 12th is the last day you can apply for an absentee ballot. May 14th is the last day you can apply for an absentee ballot in person. May 18th is the last day to hand deliver your absentee ballots, and all absentee ballots must be received by noon on election day, May 19th. Um, Georgia's primary election will be May the 19th as well. The last day to register in Georgia is coming up soon. It's April the 20th. Don't forget, May 16th at 9 o'clock a.m., Nazareth Baptist Church will have a prayer breakfast. Yours truly and Mr. Jerry Jackson will be the guest speakers at that prayer breakfast. So I hope that all of you guys will make plans to attend and come out and join and support us at the prayer breakfast at Nazareth. St. Luke presents his fifth annual Juneteenth celebration, Saturday, June the 27th, 2026, from 4 o'clock p.m. to 7 o'clock p.m. on the campus of the historic St. Luke AME Church. We are currently accepting applications for vendors, sponsors, and entertainment. If you are interested in being a vendor, if you are interested in being a sponsor, or if you are interested in being an entertainer at the event, please contact Joyce Thomas Vinson, Jerry Jackson, Pastor Monique Summers, Althea Ashford, or Julia Ardeen Thomas for more information. Please contact Joyce Thomas Vinson, independent Mary Kay consultant for all of your Mary Kay needs. And don't forget to subscribe to Juju's Dollhouse YouTube channel. Let's see. I think that is all the announcements we have. I don't see any other comments, and it is 8 o'clock p.m. Thank you guys so much for joining me tonight. I have enjoyed this conversation. It's one that we need to think about, it's one that we need to meditate on, and it's one that we need to get busy on, seeing if we can resolve some of the issues within our community to help make our communities safer and better. Um, Ms. Jones said that's a good question. What can we do to improve? If you give advice, then they think you are better than them. You say something to these kids, they curse you out or show disrespect. You can remove all obstacles if you work hard, but that's the problem. People don't want to put in the hard work. So what do we do? It only takes a few good men that's willing to put in the hard work, Miss Jones. And like I said, each one reach one. If we can touch one life, one child, one young person, turn that child around, one can chase 1,000, two, 10,000. So it starts with one. It starts with one. And all that it takes for evil to prevail is for good men to do nothing. So we don't want evil to prevail. So we need some good men who are willing, good men and women who are willing to get out there and do something. All righty, guys. Thank you so much. I am Juju. I'm that mountain moving giant slayer. Guys, I'm walking by faith. I'm inspiring hope, and I am showing love all along the way. Love is the answer. And until next time, I wish each of you much love and many blessings. Thank you for joining me. Good night.